Alison Krauss reveals the real reason she quit, and the truth is far less dramatic than rumor suggested but far more revealing about the hidden pressures of longevity, perfection, and emotional honesty in music. For years, fans assumed Krauss had quietly walked away from her career, interpreting her long absences and reduced public presence as a permanent retreat. In reality, Krauss never abandoned music. She stepped away from a pace and expectation that threatened to drain the meaning from her work. From a young age, she was praised for precision, purity, and control, qualities that became both her strength and her burden. Audiences came to expect flawlessness every time she sang, leaving little room for exploration, rest, or emotional fluctuation. Krauss admitted that over time, this expectation began to feel suffocating. Music, which once felt instinctive and alive, started to feel like a responsibility she had to meet rather than an expression she could freely offer. The decision to pause was gradual and deeply personal. She explained that she could feel herself performing correctly but not always truthfully, and that disconnect frightened her more than disappearing from spotlight. Krauss believes that music without emotional presence becomes hollow, no matter how technically perfect it sounds. Touring schedules, constant recording cycles, and the pressure to always deliver excellence left her little space to reconnect with herself. Rather than push through exhaustion, she chose silence. Krauss also addressed speculation about conflict within her band, making it clear that her step back was not fueled by disagreements or dissatisfaction. The relationships remained intact, but she understood that collaboration requires emotional availability, and she did not want to show up creatively empty. Her sensitivity, often misunderstood as fragility, became the guiding force behind her decision. She trusted her inner signal telling her to stop, even when the industry encourages endurance at all costs. Stepping away allowed Krauss to rediscover her identity beyond applause and expectation. Fame had arrived early in her life, shaping her sense of self around performance and approval. The pause gave her time to exist without a schedule, a microphone, or an audience demanding consistency. During this period, she continued to engage with music quietly, choosing selective collaborations that felt emotionally aligned rather than obligatory. Working at a slower pace reaffirmed her belief that music needs space to breathe. Krauss also spoke about how women in the industry face harsher judgment for pauses, often labeled as unreliable or withdrawn. By choosing her own timing, she reclaimed control over her narrative. Fans who initially feared she had quit eventually came to understand that her absence preserved the very qualities they admired. When she returned to familiar projects years later, it felt natural rather than forced, enriched by perspective and renewed purpose. Krauss emphasized that the word quit never truly applied. Music never left her life, only the pressure did. She stopped chasing expectations and started honoring intuition. The hardest part, she admitted, was trusting that listeners would understand her silence. Yet she believed that honesty would resonate more deeply than constant visibility. Her story challenges the industry's obsession with non-stop output and reframes success as sustainability rather than speed. Alison Krauss didn't walk away from her gift, she protected it. The real reason she quit was to ensure that when she sang, it would still be with truth, intention, and emotional clarity. By stepping back, she preserved the soul of her artistry and proved that longevity is not about never stopping, but about knowing when to pause so that the music remains real.